time for another reading vlog. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and it is an end of month reading vlog for September. I feel like we haven't done one of these in a while because I've been out traveling for July and August. So we're back to a regularly scheduled end of month reading vlog. It is the last week of September here, and we're getting ready to wrap up what we're reading. So I have been doing sci-fi September. I read a bunch of sci-fi this month, but I did need a little bit of a space opera break, so I have picked up Ruination by Anthony Reynolds. I did not know that he was Australian, but there you go. I really want the hardcover of this book. I don't generally get hardcovers because I prefer to read in paperback, but the hardcover is beautiful. But I was impatient because they're not coming out till next year. So I picked up the floppy paperback and I've been reading that. I am just at part 3 now. I've got about 150 pages, maybe 160 pages to go, which I should finish this weekend. I am enjoying it. It is a very fast-paced, very easy read, but I will say it is fairly predictable. But that being said, very enjoyable. If you're looking for something to pick up and just sort of blitz through because it is comforting, it is familiar, then this is a good pick. So it's a family story. We're following Callista, who is like the head of the armies, and her uncle Viego, his wife, I can't remember what her name was. Is she on the back? Isolde? I don't know how to pronounce it. So his wife, there was an assassination attempt and she was hit with a magical dagger and she is now not very well. So it is Callista's job to go and find the cure, basically. So she goes to some hidden isles to try and find the Well of Ages. I mean, there are some throws here to some bigger fantasy series, the Well of Ages. Come on, man. But she has to go and find them, and that's sort of where I am at now. She's just been like banished from these hidden isles. So I've been reading that. That's been a really sort of comforting, easy read. When I pick it up, I'll blitz through 50 pages fairly quickly. And the other thing that I'm reading, and the last sci-fi that I will get in for this month, is Iron Truth by S.A. Tholen. This is the Prematary Book 1. So I'm only 100 pages into this book. It is about 600 pages, maybe just under, and it is taking a lot more brain power than Ruination, but it is so good. I don't think I've been sucked into a space opera quite so quickly. There is a lot happening right now. We've got military, we've got space exploration, we've got desolate planets and a plane crash. So it's interesting, but I don't think we've really gotten to the heart of the story yet. And the one that I'm listening to on audio is Moon Deeds by Palmer Pickering. This is a very much in the middle of science fiction and fantasy, so it is a sci-fantasy story where we've got two star children, but they're like in their early 20s, and they are destined to basically save people from the big bad military eye, is what I gather. So this book feels very much like a setup. I've got 4 hours left of the audiobook. I know there is a book 2 currently out, but book 1 is good. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. I definitely enjoyed part 2 a lot more than part 1. Part 1 was a very slow setup and we took quite a while to get to the point of part 1, but I understand why the author has done that. It's to get us to understand the characters and how they operate a little bit, as well as giving us some of their past so we know what their actions mean when they go into the second part of the book. And then part 2 has moved a lot quicker for me, and I'm enjoying it, and I'll probably finish that one early this week. So those are the things that I'm reading, and you can look forward to updates during the week. Sorry about the road, I don't have the little silencer thing on, so that's going to be quite loud. I don't really have many plans for this week to show you, so it's just going to be slice of life, what I do in a work week. Going to work, going on walks. I might take you to the gym because there's a lot of gym people in there that don't necessarily want to be filmed, and maybe some food prep and stuff. I don't know, but I'll catch you in the next update. Good morning, everyone. Look, my hair looks less insane. Congratulations to the barber who got to cut my mop head yesterday. I have finished Ruination. It is now Monday the 26th. I did not film it all yesterday, but finished Ruination. I thought it was really good. This is a book that could get someone out of a reading slump. It is super fast paced. It was easy to pick up and not want to put it down. It flowed, it was a great adventure, but it was fairly predictable in my opinion. So that was really the only shortcoming. The last 50 pages were awesome, but it did take to that last 50 pages to really up it in my reading experience anyway. So had a good time, sitting at around 3.75 with that last 50 pages sort of bumping it up a little bit. So that one is under my belt. I have an hour and a half or maybe an hour of Moon Deeds left to go, so I've just started what I think is the last chapter on the audiobook. Now, I like Moon Deeds. It's not my favorite thing I've ever read / listened to. I think it's very much a setup book for the next in the series, and it's a slow setup at that. A lot of the time I find in book ones of a series, there will at least be some sort of plot, and there is a very loose plot in Moon Deeds, and it's more alluded to, but we're getting a lot more feel of the characters and how they tie into this plot loosely. So I'm interested in continuing on with book 2 to see how that plot really does come into fruition. Now, I have not gone back to Iron Truth yet. That is my big goal this week. I've got 5 days left in the month to try and read Iron Truth, and I have got about 500 pages to go, so we'll see how that turns out, because it is my mother's birthday on Thursday, and I think my father and I are setting up a fish tank somehow while I'm working, because she wanted fish for her birthday. He has the tank, I have everything else, and we're going to go and get fish on my lunch break and like try and not kill them by the time she gets home. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, today is going to be just a reading and editing videos day. I mean, I do have work. I was meant to get up and edit early this morning, and I watched BookTube instead. So, that's your fault, Theo, if you watch these vlogs. I've been watching your TBR. Alright, I'll catch you in the next clip. Hello, this is like a quick update because I'm technically on call for work, but I just wanted to show you what's happening when I work from home, because I had to move the chair to go and clean the cupboard. She's having a good old snore while I'm working. Hello! I might give you a bit of a quick life update while I'm waiting for the kettle to boil on a quick break from work, and then I want to talk to you about the first half of Iron Truth by S.A. Tholen. It's been a while since I've done a life update. I think I sort of touched upon some things in the travelling vlogs, but I haven't sat down to let you know what's going on. So, I know most of you, if you watch these vlogs, will know that Rachel and I are moving to Perth. We currently live in Queensland, so that is literally the other side of the country. It's like 4,000 kilometres away, and we're going to drive as a couple with the dog, who is currently stealing my chair, over to the other side of the country. We have just today booked our removalist, so they are going to come here, pick up all our stuff in January. They're going to go and store it, and then once we're ready to move to Perth, which I presume will be June, July next year, we just give them a call and say, hey, we're ready to go, and they start trekking it over to the new house, depending on when that is finalised. We are going to move in with my parents, so that's been finalised where we're going to live for the first 6 months of next year or so, depending on how long this build takes. It's going to be an adjustment. I have not lived at home since I was 23 or 24, so it's been a while, and I've not had to have other people in our space, and it's going to be an adjustment for mum and dad as well, of course, but they have the space, whereas Rachel's parents don't have as much space, and my parents are a bit younger, so our work-life balance is pretty similar, so we don't want to upset anyone along the way. if we can avoid it. So they've been kind enough to let us into their house for, my arm is getting tired. They've been kind enough to let us into their house for 6 months or so next year. Such a dad move to have your finger in the video, just to avoid the insane rent costs that are happening in Queensland at the moment. When COVID hit, a lot of people from other states moved here, and it's driven the rental and even just the property market up an insane amount. So buying a house here would cost you a lot more now than it would previously. So we're going to go and save some money living with my parents, and that's going to happen in the next couple of months. That's pretty much it for that side of life. Yeah, it's my mum's birthday on Thursday, so we bought her a fish tank, and she wanted fish, so I have to somehow procure live fish and get them in the tank on Thursday without her knowing. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, I'm going to go make a coffee, and then I'll update you on Iron Truth. Okay, my computer crapped itself, so now I have to restart before I can work again, so I guess I've got more time. I forgot to say when I was doing the Perth update that because we are moving in a few months, and basically we're going to be living out of duffel bags at my parents' house, and whatever we can realistically take with us on the drive to Perth. So it's about, I think we're doing it in 6 days. It's a 46-hour drive from my parents' house, and we are going to take a break in the middle to give Ari a break from the anti-anxiety and travel meds, just to get them out of her system before we, give her a break and then give us a break to catch up on sleep, because when you're driving all day, it can really take a toll. Although I feel like Australians are pretty weak when it comes to long drives. I've had some American friends who are like, yeah, we'll drive 3 hours for dinner, we don't care. Whereas if I've got to drive more than 45 minutes, I'm not going. So it'll be interesting driving 8 to 10 hours a day, depending on the day. So because we have started all of the unhaul stuff, I've got all those books up there, except for the pile that's facing out, to unhaul at some point. And we have gone through clothes. We've gotten rid of so many clothes. You accumulate so much stuff when you live in one place for a few years. So I think I got rid of 2 garbage bags. My best friend's kid has started to go through puberty and is bulking up a little bit, so he fits all of my older clothes, which is great. I can hand them down, and other stuff will just go and donate. And then there's just stuff that wasn't worth donating at all, so that's gone in the bin. And I've gone through this office. It's a bit of a shambles at the moment, which is why that chair is there, because I had to get into the cupboard to clean that out, so that's been cleaned out. We are very lucky. We have a 4-bedroom house for 2 people, which is not something that many people have the luxury of. We are renting, and we got this house for a steal, really, at the time that we rented it. So it'll be interesting going into a market that's a little bit more jaded post-COVID. All right, let's update. Yes, my chair is squeaky. All right, do a quick update on the Iron Truth, and then you can carry on with your day, and I will carry on with mine. So I'm about 50% of the way through this now. I'm at about 250. I think this edition is 572 pages. We're following 2 POVs. We have Joy and Casimir. They are from very different walks of life. So basically, Joy got on a ship 119 years ago with the idea that in 5 years she would be on a new planet, a new beautiful planet, and starting a new life and basically colonizing this new planet. She wakes up, or is rudely awakened, squeaky chair, she's rudely awakened from her sleep 119 years later on a desolate planet called Cato. It is full of dust and storms, and she suffers from a condition called miner's asthma, or I think it's miner's asthma in the book, which means that she has limited life supply of a medical bracelet, because if too much dust get into her lungs, she cannot breathe, and her doses are rapidly declining. Casimir is basically the head of some military operation who is sent to recover another ship over on the planet Cato that they have landed on. He's very strict, very much a hard ass, no nonsense, and is kind of a religious fanatic. He likes things to be pure, and if you're not pure, then you're not worth his time and you should be dead. And that's sort of a religious aspect that is coming through the book now, which is kind of cool that religion itself is not considered pure. It was actually considered impure. So there's like a whole other ball game that's happening. But he's quite taken with joy, which he should not be. So there is a weird sort of romance happening at the same time. I don't hate it. Sorry, the shaky cam. I don't hate it, but I also don't love it. So we'll see where that goes. But this world is huge and it is dangerous, and we are, you know, alluded to the fact that there is a whole galaxy out there where some planets are great and some planets are not so good. Very sort of classic space opera, has a lot of horror elements. There's quite a few horror elements in here as well, like lots of spiders. If you're not a spider lover, you're gonna hate this book. But yeah, it's having a good time with it at the halfway mark and looking forward to seeing where it goes. I can see why it won the SPSFC competition for 2021, because there is so much inside of these pages. I want to show you something unapologetically Australian, and that is a trolley or shopping cart out in the wild that's just here for no reason. That shopping cart has existed there for months. Hello, yes, there is a very busy area behind me because I'm cleaning up this room to chuck stuff out before we move. But it is Thursday, the 29th of September. It is my mum's birthday today, so just in case I don't get a lot of filming done, we'll do a quick reading update. I finished Moon Deeds. I finished that one on Tuesday. I go to my friend's place every Tuesday night and I see his kids and we have dinner together. So I was saving 45 minutes of the book for the drive. What I didn't realize was there was a prequel to the second book and like a soundtrack that happened after the end of the first book. So I got in the car and I listened to the last 2.5 minutes of Moon Deeds, which I didn't realize was only 2.5 minutes of the book that I was currently reading. So that was a fun trip in silence, or like a weird soundtrack that happened after the book. But Moon Deeds, my initial thought stands. It's very much a setup book. We've got two POVs. We've got Tor and Cassidy. They're both 21-year-old siblings. Tor is like a sharpshooter for the military of some description, and Cassidy is like a herbalist who's learning about plant magic and healing. So in their world, the Tags or Tagia have invaded, and they're a big, bad military operation that basically just want to run the world. And Cassidy remembers that they have these moon deeds, so deeds to property on the moon, and they think that that was handed to them by their great aunt previously. And they did have some friends, Kai and Jasper, who had moved to the moon a couple of years prior. So she thinks, why not? What if we can escape to the moon and find a way to bring our parents here? So they go on and they escape to... So they go on and they go to the moon, and they realize that the moon really isn't all that much safer. It's quite desolate. People are on rations, and there's not enough food, there's not enough water for people who are there. All the while there's a prophecy going in the back of the head about the Star Children, who are prophesized to basically save the world, and they start to put together the pieces that they may be these Star Children. That is sort of the underlying plot, but it's mainly about these characters. We have a good 30% of the book which is set up in their current world. We start to understand that Tagia is a big bad, and that my wife's alarm is going off at 6:30 in the morning. Tagia is the big bad, and that they need to get out. They need to get the hell out of Dodge and escape this particular military operation. And then they sort of get to the moon, and it starts putting into play that maybe they are these Star Children after all, but they're not super sure. Towards the end of the book, that prophecy becomes more prevalent. We start putting some more pieces together, which I can't sort of go into detail without going into spoilers. There will be a full review here on the channel. And then it just sort of stops, and it stops quite abruptly. So I do want to know what happens with this prophecy, so I will be picking up the next book at some point. Ari has stolen my chair once again. No one is shocked. and my squeaky chair. The other thing that I'm reading is The Iron Truth. I will not be finishing this in this vlog. It is a beefy book, and I'm at page 310 out of 584 in Iron Truth, and it's just not going to happen because today's Mum's birthday and I'm going to work over there so that I'm there when she gets home. I'm also taking Ariana so that she can go and play with their puppies all day and have a bit of a puppy play date while supervised, because we are going to be living there next year, so I do need to get those dogs acclimatized to each other. It's really picked up, Iron Truth, so at the halfway mark, it's still quite a setup, and now we're getting to like space missions and the military aspect is coming and it's really cool, but I can't go into too much detail. Again, there will be a review for that one. Because I finished Moon Deeds and there was still like 3 days left of the month, I didn't want to just not have an audiobook, so I picked up my first spooky season audiobook, which is Fantastic Land by Mike Bokoven, and it's cool. It's written differently. It's written as a series of interviews that are recounting an event that happened in Daytona Beach. So basically there was this big amusement park called Fantastic Land, and the owner wanted it to be half on the ocean, half in the trees, so they built it around Daytona. And there was a massive storm that came through and ripped this park to shreds, and like all the emergency evacuations and getting them out. What happened was there was about 300 staff that remained in the park to secure it, but they were then abandoned for, I think it was about a month, maybe longer, but they were abandoned for a significant amount of time. And even though there was plenty of food and water and the park was set up for these precautions, it ended up becoming a bit of a gang war. And the conversation is sort of surrounds what happens when, you know, young people who are so dependent on social media don't have that anymore. They don't have that validation, and they're stuck in one area and they're bored and they don't know when any sort of help is going to happen. So basically the event had already happened. 119 people have died. When the news crews went in, they found bodies everywhere, and they're putting the pieces together of what was going through these kids' minds to create such an awful event. Now, I've only just started, so I've listened to the first 4 interviews, and it is fascinating and done in a different way, so that's kind of cool. That is it for the reading updates. I'm going to go and do my ab and push-up challenge. 2 days left of this thing to go. It hurts. It's at the point where it takes 20 minutes. I haven't gone to the gym in 2 days because these challenges take up so much time and I have to work, so I'm time poor in the mornings. That's okay. We've got 2 days to go. We can do this. And then I'm going to Mum's. I'm going for a drive. I'll listen more to Fantastic Land, and the dogs will play, and you'll get some B-roll footage of Puppy playing, and probably setting up a fish tank maybe, but I'll catch you in the next update. I'm at my parents' house, and this is my current work setup. So this is actually the room that Rachel and I will be in when we move here, but I have all the dogs here, so I'll show you all the dogs. Basil, Ariana, and then over here, don't look at the laptop, Freddy. Hey, Freddy Fred. What are you doing? Also, does anyone else just, like, bring their book with them wherever they go? I feel like other book people do this. Even if there's no chance that you're going to get to read it that day, I just like to have it close by in case there is an opportunity to read. Let me know if you also do this. If you have a look at my Instagram stories today, you'll see that I just got bullied. There's a full progression of the bullying that happens. So you get off the chair, and I'm such a soft touch when it comes to this friggin' dog that I just get off the chair. So this is the last clip of the vlog this week. I didn't read very much at all of Iron Truth. I think I got to page 350 yesterday, and that's where I currently am. I just didn't have a chance to read, unfortunately. So we finished Ruination, we finished Moon Deeds, I got halfway through Fantastic Land, and I am about just over, so I've got about 200 pages to go of Iron Truth. and I've had a pretty good read of all of those. Iron Truth is sort of definitely heating up. We're in the heart of like this really dangerous mission, and it's pretty action-packed. And the author's done a really clever job of shortening the chapters and switching the POVs more to make it more fast-paced and just gripping. So I want to read a little bit more of that today. Today I have a beta read to start, which is pretty exciting for one of my favorite authors of the year. So going to do that. And I think I'm going to download a Switch game. I don't know which one, Bear and Breakfast or Potion Permit, I think it's called. I'm not a gamer. I don't think I ever have been. I used to play a lot as a younger person, and now I just sort of like cute, casual pixel art games that will capture my brain for more than a couple of hours, so I don't tend to get the big game releases. I like watching people play games. Rachel is very much a gamer, and she will buy the big releases, and I'll just watch her play while I do other stuff. But yeah, I think that's what's on the cards for today. Alright, well that is it from me for this reading vlog. I hope you had a good time. Let me know if there's anything in particular that I read that you'd like to know more about, or that you have also read and have thoughts about. If you like the content, give it one of those. If you want to see more of it, then click subscribe at your will, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.